Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. An amazing week with the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. We'll have reaction to that. We'll also be looking at possibly the worst free bet we have ever seen utilized in our life. And also on last week's show, we got called out in the wake of something that we said. We're going to cover all of that and so much more today on Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel, which is part of the Hammer Betting Network and presented by Kalshi. If you don't know the drill, this is the show where we cover the latest and trending news that comes from gambling Twitter. Because of the absolute blizzard, storm, polar vortex that we had in Southern Ontario yesterday, we are doing it from the comfort of our own homes, unfortunately, not in studio for today. But that doesn't mean it won't still be a fantastic show. So if you enjoy along the way, please make sure you do hit the like button. Also, please make sure that you are subscribed to Circles Off for more great content here on the channel. But let's bring in the cast for today. It's as normal. I am your host here on Circle Back. My name is Jacob Gramegna. I'm a creator and producer for the Hammer Betting Network. Down in the bottom left corner of the screen, we have CEO of the Hammer Betting Network, professional sports bettor Rob Pizzola. In the top right, we have Kirk Evans, basketball originator, and also in the bottom right corner to round it off, we have Geoff Fienberg, Chargers superfan, sophisticated square, a man of many talents. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. How are you guys doing in the midst of the storm here?
You know what? I'll just say on my end, I did my championship Sunday with friends yesterday. Wasn't outside a whole lot. Opened up the door. I'm like, holy geez, there's a lot of snow out here. I had to shovel my car out to get home. No one was on the roads, luckily, but yeah, a little bit of cleanup to do today, certainly. So we're not immune to it. We're in the Northeast. We get this type of stuff. You know,
just been a few years since we had it, though. Like anything quite like this. It's been quite a few years.
This is crazy. I think it's the most snow ever in Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad.
Well, yeah. I went on vacation post Super Bowl last year, and when I got back, the snow was high enough at my house that it was basically up to my midsection. Like it was really hard for me to even walk to my garage door to open the door. So I mean, we've had this in the past before. We've had it. Well, I don't like to bring up bad snow because I think Geoff had like a snow shoveling incident where his knee gave out, or
that was ice fishing.
PTSD.
That was ice fishing, Rob.
So
that was ice. There's no snow like this. That was just ice. There's a lot of snow. I like it though. It's light and fluffy. I'll never hire I'll never do my own landscaping. You'll never see me in a million years with a lawnmower, ever. But I actually don't mind the snow shovel at all.
How do you guys feel about, so yesterday, awful weather, roads were unusable for a good portion of the afternoon. What is your take on ordering takeout, ordering delivery on a day like yesterday? Because my fiance ordered something, and I just can't even imagine making somebody trudge through the blizzard to bring me my lunch.
You know what? I'm going to be very contrarian here because this happened in our group of friends yesterday. All right. Lots of places, if you called them, they would have just said, we don't do delivery today. If someone, I have friends who took Ubers home last night, right? And another guy's arguing, how the hell are you going to make someone drive in this way? They choose whether or not they're going to accept it's the same with delivery at that point. If somebody's working for Uber Eats and they make their livelihood and they want to go out in the snow, that's on them.
No, hold on. There's a clear delineation here. It is what are you tipping above your normal X? They're willing to work. That's fine. You're right, Rob. They've made that decision. But anyone that calls on their services, Like the tip's got to maybe be like 8x what you normally tip. And I'm not even kidding. I may be too cheap because I wouldn't do it because I was like, there's just no way. There's no way. Like, there's just no way I'm making someone come to my door, and I don't want to tip like 10x. So I'll just eat yesterday's pizza.
That's a fair point. Yeah. I think that's fair. And you should go above and be if someone's delivering in really shitty weather. You should
above
go above
and beyond would be an understatement. But I'm one of these people. Like, there's things in society you're allowed to do, and don't get me wrong. I'm a psychopath. I got my own moral code. But I would not have someone deliver me food and something like that. But I'm also a lunatic. I will not recline on an airplane. Like, I think that is such a. I think it shouldn't even exist. It should not even exist. I don't know why it exists. I will not do it. And if you do it to me, not like I could still sit there maybe comfortably, but I will intentionally drive my kneecaps into your lower back. Like, that's the deal.
I have no choice. If you're reclining, I have no choice but to
what are you going to do? I'm 6 feet tall. If someone reclines in that's my space. Like I you know what? I don't know why they allow them to recline, in all honesty. That's like just manufactured planes that don't allow the reclining. I don't understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree there. But good report there to start us off, but let's get into the show. It's very much an inconvenience when somebody reclines their chair in front of you on an airplane. And some might say it is a little bit inconvenient to have to listen to Tony Romo on an NFL broadcast these days. There was quite a few people calling out the lack of quality with Tony Romo in the games yesterday. Tom Brady got some praise, though. Here's Mike Beauvais, who said, average Tom Brady commentary. As a QB, you're looking to see if your receiver has an extra step on the corner and can cut back outside. You're dealing with fine margins, Kevin. Average Tony Romo commentary. You ever think about eating a football, Jim? I have. Another one here. Jeff Sunday at the Degen Weekly, formerly known as The Degenerate, says, are the conditions bad in Denver? I wasn't aware. Need Tony Romo to tell me for the 50th fucking time that the conditions are bad. Can barely see the field, but please, Tony, tell me how bad the conditions are. Final thing, we saw a little bit of a crash out. Abraham Blinken says, if NFL doesn't correct Kyle Williams' stats, there's grounds for a class action lawsuit at DK Sportsbook, at FanDuel Sportsbook. It's clear as day he made 1 yard of progress from the 7 to 6 yard lines. Forward progress picture to repost if you are currently affected by this. And it's a half yard of a gain. It is a half yard game. However, it did go from 2nd and 4 to still 3rd and 4. A lot of people in the replies posted their losing parlays because they lost by 1 yard on Kyrie Williams because he ended on 39, and a lot of people had 40 plus within their parlays. But Rob, overall from Championship Sunday, any thoughts from you, whether it's something we talked about here or something else?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with Patriots Broncos because I think that game was just a dud. You got teased early with the Stidham deep shot, and then it just completely fell apart after that. It honestly felt like I was watching like a mid-90s conference championship game where offense basically doesn't exist anymore. Lots of punts, something weird might happen. I have a take I think maybe Geoff might really, really kill me for here. I've never talked about this with anyone. I really hate when the elements like completely hijack a high leverage football game. I know weather is part of the sport. I'm not arguing that for domes everywhere, but when you play almost the entire season under relatively normal conditions, and then the biggest game of the year turns into like survival football in the second half where no team can move the ball, I think it takes away from the product. I didn't like that game at all yesterday, the early game. And this was someone who was pretty heavily invested in it. That second half stopped being about execution. It kind of started just being about, like, I don't even know. It just had for a 10-7 game that was close, it felt like there was nothing there. And maybe part of this is because I've hated the Patriots dynasty for a lot of, my life. I hated seeing the Patriots go on every year. Tom Brady was like this great cold weather quarterback. He won. There was the tuck rule in the snow and all that stuff. So maybe I'm a little bit jaded by that, but I just don't like that. I don't love that about playoff football. And
of course, Rob doesn't like it because God forbid a field goal gets missed or 4 field goals get missed in a game. Rob wants to see 1.5 first downs and into field goal range and wants to see a 67-yarder go straight through the uprights. I actually don't like, I get Rob's point. You know, you play that long, the game gets highest leverage, but that's football. You're the Denver fucking Broncos, and there's a snowstorm. Like, you got to use that to your advantage. Okay, you're playing another cold weather team, but I don't know how to do any of that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like
that's all. But like, yeah, of course. Like Rob, I've noticed, like, despite being a pro bettor who probably truly only cares about winning his bets because his bets are not small, he has strictly become like a WWE football fan. Like, the conditions need to be perfect. I like to see controversy, so I don't want a perfectly officiated game. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong on these things, but like, you're consistent in what you want from the league, and I'll give you that. And I'm not saying, like, I could argue this either way. I could argue, if you told me, like, I could argue this either side. I don't even totally disagree with you, but I will acknowledge you're consistent, and you seeing field goals missed when you want 67-yarders drilled through straight, you know, I get it.
I have no problem with that, Geoff. Honestly, that's not what it just, to me, the elements made the game.
I don't know. It's Rob. Look at your calendar. What's the date?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I know. I've watched football my whole life.
Part of these games.
I wish football started in the winter and ended in the summer instead of vice versa.
Games get played in really cold weather. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes in hockey, the schedule goes so late that some of the ice conditions are really shitty in some of these places. Like, I don't it's all just part of being alive to play, I guess.
I'm purely speaking from an entertainment quality point of view. I understand this is how it's been for our whole lives. I've seen all sorts. I'm just saying the Denver New England game was shit, and a large reason that it was shit was because the weather turned real shit.
Half was shit. The weather was kind of fine.
So agreed. But in the high level, in the fourth quarter, you want to be able to see these teams throw the ball downfield and try to create something.
How about, Rob, I want to see a team start a drive on the 32-yard line and maybe move a little. And I don't think that's weather related. I think they just called plays that defense was ready for.
I think this is a classic one of those things that you think you want only good weather games, and in 10 years they'll all be domes, or maybe more than 10 years there'll be no weather games, and you'll be like, wow, I missed that. Those were fun. It's like, I agree. Like, obviously you watch both those games yesterday, and the product of the Denver New England game is worse than the Seattle LA game. But if you only have the Seattle LA games, you would start to miss some of those Denver New England games. And shout out to you both, sharps on announcer like trends. You guys were so in on Romo being bad and Brady being good way before it's popular, and now it's in the zeitgeist.
The contrast is impossible to miss now. Like, having them in back-to-back games really highlights how far apart they are right now. Like, Brady, I've watched football my whole life. I am a sharp when it comes to betting football. Brady can still impart knowledge on someone like myself. I mean, him talking about JSN's route running yesterday, where he talked about how he keeps his shoulder angles identical at all times so that the defensive back can't, like, he basically is not disguising any of his breaks, which makes it so hard to defend him. A lot of receivers will drop a shoulder when they're going to break one way or something. That's elite analysis. Like, that's stuff that fans are not going to hear. Romo's not giving you any of that. What made Romo good in the beginning was also that he came on the scene and he's like, here's what the play is going to be. And then he would explain afterwards what he saw in order to call out that play. That's God. I mean, he's cooked at this point.
Romo, I'll start shaking if I get really into this. But Romo, I want to give him a free pass because he claims a week ago he was on a bottle of, like, NyQuil. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine, like, calling a game, like, with, like, a full-on, like, head cold.
Yeah.
Like, doing a half-hour recording with one of those. But I don't know if you saw, because I read this sort of shit, Sports Business Journal. Front Office Sports had an article last week with quotes from, I don't understand. It's up, it's down. Should I just speak louder? Jacob, talk to me in real time.
You turned it down, or it was good when we started. You turned your volume down.
All right. I
There we go.
only
That's
have
good.
like one knob here to
You're
change.
good. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
But you need to your speaker needs to be down so that we don't hear ourselves back through the microphone. Yeah. Your mic is good. Speaker volume down. And then we're all straight.
I don't know. I do these I just did a recording like for 2 hours. I didn't have any issue. It's the same setup, but okay.
Sounds good now.
We're good now. We're good now.
Okay, perfect. I will just say this. Front Office Sports had quoted CBS Sports executives saying this Romo hate is manufactured and it's just a pile-on, and that made my blood boil. It's not a pile-on. It's all of us watching, coming up with the same conclusion, and like we are all seeing the same thing. We are all coming to this. Okay, it is not a pile-on. They are freaking out because they pay him $18 million a year, and he's not very good at it. And they need to try to come up with anything. It is. There's no way that they can say that this is just like an internet contrived thing, especially to Rob's point. When you watch them in back to back.
And to say that it's like contrived, it's actually the opposite of that, because Romo was liked so much at the start that like when you're good to start, people's brain will just associate, oh, okay, Romo's good at this. So he has to be so bad for people to start realizing like, oh, this is terrible. So I completely agree with you, Geoff. That's a ridiculous take.
I would love to. It can't, Romo CBS, so it's not going to happen. But an Al Michaels, Tony Romo pairing next year could be better than any stand-up comedy you'll ever go watch in your entire life. I don't think they'd have a single clue what's going on because Herb Street has to jump in with Michaels so often to let him know what's happening. That would be hilarious. I see Tom Connor in the chat says you have to choose Romo, Al Michaels, or Collinsworth. The rest, Collinsworth by far. I mean, Collinsworth just gets really horny about certain players, right? Like he compares everything to Patrick Mahomes and how Patrick but Collinsworth can actually talk shop relative to Romo. Romo is not offering anything to the broadcast that the viewer doesn't already know. That's why it's a complete slap in the face for everyone. It's like he's getting paid millions of dollars to basically just show up off his couch and just joke around. He thinks he's there for like a fucking joke.
I will say I thought he was better. I thought he was better, but I guess he was so bad the week before. Like, he wasn't making the animal noises in the Patriots-Broncos game. But I guess that could just be a Josh Allen thing.
Well, what's the Patriots animal noise? He doesn't really know what to do.
No, I just like the ooh, ah, like, ooh, Jim, ooh, Jim, he's going to get him.
You know why, Geoff? Because the game fucking sucked because of the snow in the second half. He couldn't even get excited. The Rams game was great, though. Honestly, it was a very entertaining football game. We had the Cooper Cup catch or no catch, which everyone's debating about online again. I honestly think at this point it's gotten to the point where it's genuinely insane. Before Brandon Cooks dropped that ball, I swear to you, some people were confused about catches in the NFL, but it wasn't it was not anywhere near this level. I swear people are really leaning into it now. Like, it's not that hard. He caught the ball running over the middle of the field. He took 3 steps. He tried to dive forward for a first down. It's very different. It's a very different play. How are people not getting this, guys? I don't understand.
Rob, do you know how people don't get it? Because they don't fucking watch. Like, these people who are bitching about these calls don't watch football. If you watch football every week, you see these plays. Like, it's so clear. You have to survive the ground on a catch. If you make a catch, 2 feet, football move, you have possession.
Yeah.
Like, people don't want the play of the playoffs that I haven't really seen that still is confusing to me was the Stidham fumble, which somehow is getting talked about 10,000 times less than all these catch plays. The catch plays are obvious. The Stidham play, I think it was a fumble now, like watching it back a bunch of times. But he was clearly throwing it forward.
Yeah.
It got hit out of his hands backwards. So I think that's why. But if that ball got tipped, which it looked a lot like it got tipped, then that's a forward pass. And they didn't explain that on the broadcast at all, probably because it was Tony doing it. But that was a confusing play. These other plays, what are we talking about?
Yeah, listen, Mark Horn in the chat says, so week 3 of telling us we are stupid for questioning a call. You know what? I'm going to come out right out and say it. At this point, you are fucking stupid. If you don't even try to attempt to learn the rules of football, it's not like you have to read an entire book. It's 3 rules for a catch, and there's some subsequent notes. It is simple. It is really, really easy. Nobody's taking the time to do it. I mean, it's just engagement baiting now. It's screenshots of this online. It is simple. It really is.
That's just a problem. It's just when I see posts about stuff like this nowadays, I can't take anything as a serious actual thought. Everything is just so based on engagement baiting, getting people to get angry and reply to you. That is like 90% of Twitter right now. So when I see stuff like that, like I can't put any substance into it whatsoever. And on the thing of saying you're stupid for questioning a call, I think you are stupid as well for questioning a call that isn't questionable. It's like a very clear Cooper Kupp catch, and it shouldn't even be questioned.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Spoon Bets is giving another example in the chat of what happens if the catch is in the end zone. The rules change. There's different rules for end zone versus in the field of play. Again, they're available to everyone to look at. You could just take 2 minutes. You could get a fucking Grok AI or Gemini or Chat GPT to summarize the rules for you if you don't even want to do the work. It's that easy. It's 2026, people. It's not like you have to pull an encyclopedia. Like we have the internet. It's that simple. I mean, it really is. The Kyron Williams stuff I thought was interesting because his yardage total was way higher. So obviously lots of people played 40 plus on Kyron Williams.
Yeah, so most of the screenshots were basically just 40 plus yards, and it lost because of that.
Yeah, I mean, that one is. Listen, I'm not the conspiracy theory. That one's really close. It could have been ruled. I think it could have been very easily. Yeah,
but it wasn't.
It wasn't. I mean, and it's not egregiously wrong.
Yeah, I actually lost like a very, very serious amount of money recently on a play that, in my opinion, and I think most people's, was ruled incorrectly on a stat correction. It was like a multiple hundreds to one SGPs. Oh. And like I was debating, like, do I bring this to Twitter? And I kind of thought that it was too debated. Like, it wasn't like it was a rebound in an NBA. It's like a controlled tip. And the player I had a controlled tip, and I was like, this just isn't clear enough that there's like no way that they'll overturn it. And I think my play was more clear than this. That's like not very obviously a yard.
He gained like 0.3 yards on the play.
That's just not a yard. It's 2nd and 4 to 3rd and 4.
Yeah.
That's not a yard.
Stat corrections cause, first of all, like anything that's close, there's no winning. For whatever happens, there's some sort of conspiracy, right? I get tagged in these hockey stat corrections all the time, and they're happening in hockey a lot now in the NHL, where shots on goal are getting changed as the game goes on, because there's a very specific rule, which is if the puck is not going to enter the net, it doesn't count as a shot on goal. So sometimes you get these goalmouth scrambles where a guy hacks it on and the goalie, makes a pad save, but the puck would have slid wide and it gets stat corrected afterwards. And all these people are watching and they're like, oh, the books are in bed with the NHL. They don't want us to win these bets. And it's like, I mean, a lot of these are close. Some are going to work out in your favor. Some are going to work out against you is ultimately what it comes down to. But the Kyron Williams one, I've watched it over and over now. And I mean, they're not going to stat correct that at any point. It's not anywhere close to clear that he gained at least a half a yard there.
It's
not like a class action lawsuit.
Class action lawsuits.
Yeah, because they saw your $10 parlay and went, holy fuck, if we don't correct this stat, we are going under.
Mm-hmm. Often like a Major League Baseball player like freaks out about a ball that like probably was a ball, but it was like a ball by like a quarter inch.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, I shouldn't have like behaved that way over like such a close freaking call. Ah, damn it. But yeah, I hear you. Kirk, in terms of like taking that to Twitter, I don't know. That's when you almost like just take to your grave.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I was like, I know this would be embarrassing for me because like it's kind of a shit, but like it was like enough money that I would take the embarrassment if there was like some chance that I could change it. But I determined that
it's not the perfect comparison. I just feel like when you're betting on stuff like this, part of it is acknowledging that it needs like for NBA rebounds, like even assists. Like you're also betting on how those plays are going to be interpreted. Like you have to understand that it's not always going to be ruled in your favor when you have a bet like that. It could be, but sometimes it's just not going to be. If you do enough betting, you're probably going to get enough benefit out of a tipped rebound going your way or not going your way on enough occasions that I would say it probably balances out in the end. So I think that's the best way to look at it. But we'll get into next topic on a similar topic here. Some people thought that even like the Kyrie Williams stat correction was more of a rigging and some work behind the scenes by the sportsbook. And we'll talk more about an example of somebody thinking a sportsbook has some ulterior motives. However, before we get there, if you're enjoying the show so far, take a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe comment something down below. Maybe you have some thoughts from Championship Sunday. Put your comments down below, and we'll be sure to check them before next week's episode, as we always do. But on that topic I mentioned here, we had this account at Rigged for Vegas, which kind of hitting the nail on the head there with the name. There's a scam duel, formerly known as FanDuel, does shit like this all the time. Always pay attention. They put +2.5, -105 for the Rams spread on their main page. But if you scroll into alternative lines, they have Rams +2.5 for +102. They do this often, especially in tennis. They give people worse odds constantly. Always look at the alternatives. A reply here from Boston sports fans is, watch out, though. Man, they might rig it for the Seahawks, unless they rig it for the Rams after you bet the Seahawks. Better just bet the over. Wait, magnets in the uprights, almost forgot. So under, right? Damn, forgot about the phantom PI calls. What's your advice? And Rigged for Vegas replied, all valid points. Whatever Vegas wants, Vegas will get. So after looking through, I thought this tweet was 100% real. Looking through the replies, it appears as though it wasn't. And I think it's believable that it was just like a fake one. But the account took it seriously. Anyways, when I see stuff like this, I think, awesome. I'm getting a better price than it's listed at. Like, I don't think of this as a bad thing. I think, great, like, I can get a good bet here. Like, there's also examples where if you're going to bet on the money line for the Super Bowl, you should absolutely check the futures line on Super Bowl winner, because enough times that'll be different and you're going to get a better price on one or the other. This should be a good thing, should it not be? Let's go to Kirk. What do you think?
Yeah, you kind of said exactly what I was going to say. Like, why is this a worse price? Why isn't that a better price? Like, everyone always thinks of things so nefariously. Like, these are just small, like, quirks in if you think about it, I'm going to be called a sportsbook simp for this, but if you think about all the lines a sportsbook puts up, how like intricate the algos have to be to spit up that many lines, there are going to be a couple quirks, and those quirks help us win money if you try. So this isn't a bad thing. I don't know why everything is so nefarious, but obviously I think the guy replying was clearly screwing with him. And the fact that he took it seriously was very funny. So look, it is what it is. Going back to the last topic as well, like, how much are people posting this because they know it's rage bait and they know it'll get engagement? Like, who knows? But that is not a serious human being who says that.
I think Rigged for Vegas might want to check to see if FanDuel is actually operational in Vegas, because might have to change the Twitter handle at this point. I love these, honestly. I'll never get sick of these. What always cracks me up about stuff like this is how quickly people jump to conspiracy instead of just understanding how sportsbooks work. Like, yes, it looks like the same bet. Yes, one price is better than the other. There's not some grand scheme. Those are different markets that often aren't updated at the same time. Main lines and alternate lines are frequently traded separately as well. But like, if this were actually rigged against you, the solution for the sportsbook who's rigging it would simply be to offer worse prices everywhere. Why would they ever give you a good price in one spot versus another? They would just give you bad price. Like, I don't even understand what the point of this is. What this guy actually uncovered is a small edge at some sports books. These exist at books all the time. Some are more egregious than others. Sometimes you find a better price buried in alternates somewhere. Sometimes in team totals. Sometimes in other derivatives. It's like, It's not a scandal. That's just line shopping. I mean, it's crazy.
The sports book hates that happened.
Yes,
They
agreed.
are not doing. Not only is it not intentional, it is bad for them because exactly like you said, sometimes the main lines update faster. There's Steam, the alternates are like, especially for NFL playoffs where there's so many lines, they just don't have it plugged in perfectly. And exactly like you said, it can be an edge.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, will not believe it. You will not believe what's happened. There's like a promotion going on at the local pizzeria where I can get a large for the same price as a medium. It's like the craziest thing. Those suckers that are buying that medium, the store is just like ripping them off full throttle. They're just out to get them, those suckers.
Oh man,
that's a perfect comparison.
Yeah. I've been on this end of it before. You're trading thousands upon thousands of bets in real time. You rely on different data feeds to price different things. To Kirk's point, you would be very frustrated as a sportsbook that this happened and someone highlighted it because you want to have consistent pricing. But it just happens across. It's always going to happen.
Yeah,
it's impossible. There's books. Like now, Scotty Scheffler's going to win the MX by a touchdown, an event that's like a hit and giggle putt and wedge fest, Rob. There's books that will have the same number sometimes in the without Scotty market as the with Scotty market.
Right.
And they, like you said, they don't like that they have that, but there's like hundreds of markets. Everything moves fast. And, just give yourself a pat on the back if you find something good that you want to play. Like, that's it. They're not trying to give us or take away anything.
Tom Connor in the chat brings up a really good example that exists nowadays where sometimes if you go to a sports book, you'll see over 2.5 shots on goal, but 3+ is different. I probably talked to Kirk about 2 months ago about this happening with some NBA stuff on rebounds and assists with one specific sports book. Like, it's great when you find that stuff. You're finding an edge. Like in this case, probably not. The gap is not large enough where it would create an edge. But in some instances, you can go through derivatives. You'll find some stuff that's really mispriced.
Oftentimes, odd screens won't have the alternate line on their page, so it's a lot harder to detect for the average person.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Well done.
This is, use it to your advantage, as everyone said. Quickly, let's touch on the Super Bowl before we move off of the NFL. We have the Seahawks, of course, against the Patriots. Seattle, currently 68% chance of winning on Kalshi. New England, 33% when I pulled this screenshot up. $146 million in volume in this market. It's been going for since last season. It's been a long time. So we've gotten down to two teams. I don't really need your opinion necessarily on who's going to win here, but like, what do we think of the match? Are we happy with this being our Super Bowl matchup? Where we don't get the Chiefs, but Patriots are back. It's Seattle again. Rob, are you happy with this?
Well, I think if you asked me at the beginning of the playoffs, you said the Super Bowl is going to be Seahawks Patriots, I'd be like, that's good. I like that. I'll take that as a Super Bowl. I mean, listen, the alternative could have been Jared Stidham playing against this defense in the Super Bowl. And what are there other options that I would have rather seen? For sure. As someone who has Patriots futures, I would rather have not seen the Seahawks represent the NFC in this Super Bowl. But overall, I think it's okay. With that said, I mean, all the early price action was towards Seattle. This is shaping up to be the biggest, like one of the largest spreads we've seen in a Super Bowl in a while.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, on a neutral field, we see stuff at a field goal or lower. So we'll see what happens.
I saw this is the most like preseason unexpected finals in American sports since the 91 World Series of Braves Twins, which was a 200-1 preseason versus an 80. I'm going up against Rob and Seablez and the George G Stack and the Patriot Gang. I got 22-1, 10-1 Seahawk futures. It'll bring home about 10K. Please, let's go. They say go Birds. That's go Hawks, right?
Yeah, I don't know what
I think it's Hawks.
What is the official hashtag of the Seahawks? That's
12th man, I think. Man.
12th man,
corny like that.
That makes sense. Super cheese. We could talk offline if you want to swap futures, Geoff. I'd be open to that.
I don't think I want to swap. I'm a Darnold truther, by the way, as you've known for years, Rob. So like, we made it. We got here. That's unbelievable. Never thought it.
Listen, I can be a shit disturber. People know this about me. I often root for chaos. One of the most underrated storylines about this, which is behind the scenes, but Alex Moretto is our director of content here at The Hammer. He's basically my right-hand man. He's a huge Vikings fan. He's been on the Darnold is never going to win anything. He's a loser. He'll choke. To see Darnold throw 4 touchdowns in this Super Bowl and the Seahawks win would bring me a lot of satisfaction as just because I've been reading that behind the scenes for a while now.
I have a 400-1 ticket on Drake May MVP and Patriots to win the Super Bowl. So I'm just fucking sick about this. Just fucking sick.
Wow.
And then also I obviously bought a lot of Broncos futures. So I think it's a fun Super Bowl, but I'll be really into it if Drake May pulls off the upset.
Yeah. Right. Hashtag 12 as one. 12 as one.
It's okay.
I don't know about that. It's no keep pounding, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Hashtag keep pounding is right up there.
That's good shit, right?
Absolutely. Well, if you want to get involved with the Super Bowl market, you can do so on Kalshi, as well as a variety of many markets that stem from anything that isn't just sports. You can sign up to Kalshi with the QR code that is on screen now, or with the link that is in the description, whether you're listening in audio or you're watching the video right now. Thank you to Kalshi for being our presenting sponsor. Support them and support us at the exact same time. But now we will get into what it says in the title, the free bet disaster we can't ignore. Turkey Tom at Turkey Tom 24 said, I'm actually brain dead. And he posted a slip from FanDuel. Hoffenheim on the 3-way money line in their game against Eintracht Frankfurt. I'm assuming they were up 3-1 when he placed this wager. It ended 3-1. He got them at minus 5,000 live. He wagered a bonus bet of $773.50, and it returned $15.47 because obviously, I would think obviously, you do not get the stake returned on a bonus bet wager, only the winnings. I think Turkey Tom didn't realize that. CK Picks 23 says quite possibly the most insane slip I have ever seen. And then we add some even more egregious ones potentially. Fozen Poker, famous for the 10-plus point LeBron bets. It reminded me one of my followers used a bonus bet on that. And then somebody sent him a DM, and they bet on LeBron minus 7,000 with a $100 bonus bet on 10-plus points. He says, has this happened to you? I didn't get 101.43 back, only $1.43. He says, oh, brother, I'm so sorry you're finding out the hard way. But when you use a bonus bet, you only get the winnings from the wager. I'm assuming that's what it says because the last word is cut off. Anyways, for me, how the fuck do you get a $773 bonus bet without knowing how bonus bets work? How are you wagering so much that you have this in your account and don't know how it works? Rob, start with you.
Well, first and foremost, listen, I'd like to hope that everyone out there would know. And part of the reason we do this show, in all honesty, is there's some gossip related stuff, but we can kind of turn these into educational segments as well. This is definitely one of the worst bonus bet uses I've ever seen. What you want to do, a bonus bet exists for the reason of maximizing upside. As Jacob pointed out, you do not get the stake back. The value of the bonus is entirely in the payout, not in locking in a win, right? This is why sportsbooks continue to offer bonus bets in a lot of instances, because people don't know how to use them. They do stuff like this. They bet it on a big favorite. It's like somebody handing you a free lottery ticket where some few numbers are already won, and you're just like, you know what? I don't want this. Just give me a $2 coupon for coffee instead. You just donated a bunch of expected value right back to the sportsbook. Now, people make mistakes. Everyone who's been betting long enough has made a brutal mistake at some point. I'm sure I have tons of them. At least what I liked about this guy is he was self-aware enough to dunk on himself, which I actually respect. I mean, he posted his own ticket. He called himself an idiot. It's a really good teaching moment. I like when I wish he would use this bonus bet properly, but we can't reverse history. He didn't. He made something out of it. It turned into a big thing. It's kind of funny to me. So I would be scared to go look back. We didn't have bonus bets 15 years ago in the offshore space, and like our local book. I'm sure I've made some of the dumbest bets imaginable before, and I would love to look back and laugh at them.
Yep. Anyone else? Anything on bonus bet fiasco?
It's just so funny. Like, I don't have much to say other than when I saw that tweet, I laughed out loud. Like, I agree with Rob. Good on him for tweeting it. Like, that is just such there aren't that many spots in life where you click something and then realize, wow, I'm a fucking idiot. And you just know that guy spent a few hours thinking, wow, am I an idiot?
Yeah. Doing it with like a $20 bet in learning is one thing, but like $773. How have you never noticed this about bonus bets? But like, what happened here? I truly don't know.
I saw this ticket and I thought of Geoff parlaying Hoffenheim with like Scotty Scheffler to bring the price up. That's what I first thought of because Geoff talked about it last week, how he likes to parlay those huge favorites.
No, I don't like to. I don't have a choice. And they let me bet $2 on a golfer, but for some reason they'll let me jam $10, $15, $17 parlays with the same golfer when I just attach like a minus 12,000, 20,000 to it.
Yeah.
I saw some people
doing it. It's time consuming and it's fucking boring and it's a fat thumb workout I don't want.
Yeah, it's true.
I just agree with everything Jacob said there. So, and all you guys, I got nothing to add.
Well, excellent. Now we can move into the segment I have been waiting for on the show today. I kind of wanted to talk about it on Friday, but there was a lot of great stuff on Friday. Not saying there wasn't a lot of great stuff today, but it had to get talked about today. And we have the crew here that was involved last week for the most part because we had Jason last week. So had to bring this back. It all started with this tweet here from Taylor Mathis, who posted her NFL betting record for the 2025 season. She said, I went 82-56, 68% win percentage. You guys can check my juice reel. Y'all like to say I suck at betting, whatever. So initially it was just kind of a dunk because she divided her losses by her wins to obtain her win percentage of 68%, which is obviously not how it's done. The correction was 59%, excuse my horrid math here. Then we uncovered where the record actually came from. She said, check the juice reel. That is what Rob did on the previous show, where the record was not 82-56. And Rob claimed that the record came from parlay. Anything that was in a parlay counted towards the NFL record. And it seemed unbelievable. But in checking it, we had people message about it. I checked it myself. It very much appears as though that is actually how it is checked on Juice Reel. She replied and said, all right, first off, I've never been on Circles Off. Y'all would benefit from me being on. I really don't like her trying to big time us like that. I think if in video form, she's absolutely correct though. Audio form, I think if you put up our content against her content in audio form, I don't think it would be a contest, quite honestly. She said, would do better numbers. Second, majority of my NFL picks were made on Polymarket, which isn't tracked on Juice Reel. So kind of annoying to say, check my Juice Reel if you don't believe my record is this good. We checked it, and now, actually, I made it on Polymarket, isn't tracked on Juice Reel. She claimed, I would never in 1 million years count a leg of a parlay hitting as a win. I did not do that. I simply added up the numbers of my NFL record over the month it displayed, which unless Juice Reel adds it up incorrectly like you're stating, I will also go through every play I posted, which she hasn't done. And if you're like, I'm assuming she's sponsored by Juice Reel, hence why she's tagging them and using them to track. But if you're using them, I feel like the onus is on yourself to have an understanding of where your record is coming from on the app. So lack of accountability there. Here's a screenshot from Juice Reel. Our NFL record says 93-64. When you actually click on it, it goes down to 49-55. Yeah. So again, it's just like, if you're going to say go here, it should be there.
Well, it's a valid. So she, in all likelihood, what it happens here is she wanted to post her record. She went to Juice Reel. She saw that first screen. does not display the records correctly, in my opinion. It does count every leg of a parlay as a win. She saw whatever the record was and she posted that. Now, unfortunately, there's also a dollar amount next to that as well, which was not posted when she posted her record. Okay. But if you do an analysis, and Juice Reel does allow you to do an analysis, you pick the dates of the football season, you pick NFL, it will spit out a full record for you on what that was, which was what I was showing. But I mean, there's so many things here that really rub me the wrong way, because first and foremost, on my end, I'm not going to say I'm immune to dunking on people, or there are some people in the space that I truly cannot stand. All right. I've made that very known. We have the Simon Hunters of the world, Steve Fezzik's. There's certain Taylor Mathis, frankly, means nothing to me. I don't care. Right. I just merely pointed out that, like, she's presenting this to her audience as some sign of success of this great season, when in fact she did not have that. And it could have simply been said, you know, she could have simply took the road of, like, you know what, I checked the Juice Reel. This is what it said. I apologize. This wasn't what. Instead, we got the rest of the discourse around this as well. And that I don't necessarily care for, right? Like, on the content side, the whole "you'd do better numbers if I came on" thing, I mean, that misses the point entirely. Probably we'd do better numbers. I don't give a shit. We're not trying to do the most views possible here at the Hammer. I know that sounds dumb as the CEO of this company, but if that was the goal, I could chase trends. I could buy views. We could just do hot take shows. I could play the algorithm game like everyone else does. That's not what we do by design. What I care about is retention. I care about average watch time. I care about building an audience that actually understands what we're talking about, that can learn something. We have 40-minute average watch times on the Monday Circle Back. You know, like, people who don't live in the content space, that doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen by just chasing viral nonsense. People who watch this show watch a large majority of this show, right? And, like, the poly market point is a complete non-factor. It doesn't matter. The record she cited came from the record she posted. That's it. You can't reference one thing publicly and then retroactively afterwards say, well, actually, my real bets were somewhere else. And on top of this, guys, as bettors, I bet. Jacob, I know you bet. Kirk, you bet. Geoff, you bet. If I have a good football season, I know I'm having a good football season because I'm making money. If I told people I'm hitting great this year, it's because I've made a bunch of money. I will never confuse my record as 60% when I'm hitting 47% and I've lost over the year. This is the difference between people who bet and do content versus people who do content. This is the difference here. So, like, I didn't want to have to do this, but you're going to respond publicly. You're going to tell other people, like, reply to other people that I'm making this stuff up. Yeah, Rob just made it up. He pulled these numbers out of thin air. It's like, no, it's not. That's not what happened. So I just want to make that the confrontation. Like, I'm blocked now. Whatever. I deserve it. You can block whoever the hell you want to block on Twitter. I don't have no problem with that. But, like, going around and telling people, like, oh, they just made this up about me, that it couldn't be. It's false. It's honestly just, it's another sign of where this space is heading, which is downhill.
You know, times like this, it'd just be great to just have a record that shows how your NFL season is going to verify your statements. But the one she sent you to is apparently inaccurate to the actual season. That doesn't make sense to me. She did say 82-56. If she's correct, it was 82-56. Her NFL record on Juice Reel says 49-55. She would have had to have gone 33-1 on all her NFL bets on Polymarket to obtain that record, which, listen, I know people can go on hot streaks. I find that pretty hard to believe she'd be able to do that.
So I guess I feel like my take's going to be surprising here. And I guess the fact that she blocked Rob makes this not true. But I didn't really look at her saying you would benefit for having me on as, like, you would do better numbers as, like, a shot. I thought she would, like, that kind of sounds like
I didn't like it at all.
I don't know. That kind of sounds like she wanted to do the show. I think it would be a fascinating episode to hear what Taylor Mathis says on these topics. But The Polymarket thing is obviously one of the most abject lies I've ever seen. I would take the minus 10,000 that most of her bets aren't bet on Polymarket. That makes literally no sense. But I don't know. She says we would benefit from having. I've never been on Circles Off. Y'all would benefit me from having me on. I kind of feel like that's a soft launch that she wants to come on the show.
Well, I mean, she did reach out and say, like, if you're going to talk about people, you should have them on to defend themselves. And I think there's some validity to that, but it's also not realistic. I mean, think about what we're doing on Circle Back has been done across many verticals before, right? The View, TMZ, even in the sports betting space, like sports space roundtable discussions happen. You don't bring on every single person for their point of view. You know, if you're breaking down how Patrick Mahomes has had a bad season, you don't get him on the phone to be like, Patrick, can you explain why you're struggling? Like, it's just not realistic. We can't do that on a live show. We can't have every single person we talk about. I tend to give the benefit of the doubt, but this is what happened. It's clear cut, guys, what happened here. All right. She wanted to post a record. She opened up Juice Reel. She found the first screen that showed a record. She posted that. She didn't really realize that that wasn't her real record. That's fine. Now this whole like, oh my, my other picks on Paul, it's all BS. It has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't have anything.
I agree, but I think if she was on for a segment, it would be a good segment. I'm not saying have her on for a full show or interview, but like
I vouch for her coming on. I don't know that she ever actually would. I think we would see a little spike, of course. Why not? And of course, like, I don't know, if you're losing better, I don't know how to put this, but I can't believe that she wants to even engage in this way. Like, she is playing a specific game. I'm naive enough to believe she's smart enough to know the game she's playing with her walk-in, with her milk pickers, just doing her thing. The fact that she even wants to engage in this, like, I can't believe it. I'm like dumbfounded. She, like, it's almost as dumb as like when Raz engages, but on like two completely separate ends of the spectrum. You know, your Raz, be you, charge your price, your top shelf price. You know, top shelf brands don't like go yelling at internet weirdos. And, you know, if you're Taylor Mathis, to think you're going to branch out at any point beyond the race car bed simp mafia is just the dumbest business strategy you can think of. Like, there's nothing for you by engaging with Pizzola or debating truth with Pizzola. I cannot believe you even want to entertain it and not just stay in your lane of taking advantage of race car bed bros.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
how she thinks she can have her milk and eat it too. Oh shit, that's cake. That was I didn't even mean for that. You guys gonna think that I'm just
on purpose.
That was intentional.
I did not do that on purpose at all. I swear to God. Like, but she constantly wants to have her cake and eat it too. And there's just, you know, there's so much fucking cake for her to eat. Like, she got into it. I made one comment, and the amount of race cars that come, you know, just speeding to her to save her. I can't believe she even wants to like play with the portion of the sports betting orbit that like even wants to be the slightest bit credible and I'll like put us there. But sure, she can come on, but the purpose of this show is to have free-flowing conversations without the people. Like, let's be perfectly honest.
100%. What is that going to do? Like, what are we going to accomplish by going that? It's good. Let's just think this back, right? Let's say we reached out to Taylor. We said, we're going to be talking about your record today. Come on and join us. It's going to turn into a 15-minute argument on air where I'm going to feel bad about bringing up a lot of this stuff after we saw this play out in a Twitter Spaces already before.
We did.
Where, I mean, I don't want to say, like, she was very emotional while that was happening.
Yeah, you're going to treat her the same as you treat everyone else. She'd start crying, and then it's all downhill from there.
Like, and then, like, again, I have no problem. You can sell on passes. You can give out picks, whatever. Just be real and authentic with your audience. If you get caught and you fucked up somewhere, just own the mistake and move on, rather than just trying to spin this as like people are making stuff up about me. I don't make stuff up about people, okay? I can't stand it when people do it about me. I live in reality. That's where I'm at with this.
I'd want to push back because I think you're giving too much credit to think it was a mistake. I believe it's intentional. I believe that there is intent on providing a record that looks more inflated and better than it actually is for the purposes of selling, whether it be content somewhere, whether it be selling her social media presence to someone to get her to follow. I don't think it's just a mistake. She saw that and didn't look into it. It's clear as day. You look on Juice Reel. If somebody was 82-56, 93-64, they would know that they are on an absolute heater of a season. And it wouldn't be a surprise and a seeing, wow, I did a lot better on the NFL than I thought. And also, like you said, on the screenshot, you can see the negative balance beside it, which wasn't included with the record. It feels purposely misleading to me. I don't want to give the credit that it was a mistake and own it.
I will give the benefit of the doubt there, just as I did with the crypto thing. I don't think it was malicious. We can feel free to disagree. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the record. Yes. And that was it. That's what it came down. So, right. I'm not. Again, we've seen this play out on Twitter Spaces before. There's nothing that's going to be good of getting, maybe from an entertainment perspective, it might be considered good for the audience. Maybe that's where someone. But where are we going to arrive at in a 10-minute segment discussing someone's record when they think they're right and the other? It's just, we're not arriving anywhere.
I'm naive enough to believe, Rob, like at its floor, the people who watch this show are like somewhat like sophisticated squares. Like if you're actually watching this show, you come along to this channel. I get like you try to do some educational stuff. I just don't know that like we're reaching those people. I think we're more talking to people who have, a little more seasoned in the game. And I can't believe she's dumb enough to want to like try to fight that battle.
I don't know. I don't know the reasons. Sometimes when you think you're right or you think you've been picked on, you go to war. That's what some people might do.
Well, she's a league leader in empty threats as opposed to this network. So we'll chalk it up.
I would say not lead. I would say she's running second there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But yeah. Also, like that's another thing too. Like the clip goes out on Circles Off, which our social guy clips it. He knows it's going to do numbers. Good for him. Did a great job, Mike, behind the scenes. You knew that was going to work out for us. She starts interacting. She interacts, deletes a tweet. She interacts again, deletes a tweet. I've never heard of Circles Off before. That's fucking bullshit. All right? You've messaged me privately about this before.
She did say that, right? Did that get? Because I swear I read a tweet where she said she didn't know what the channel was.
She did. She deleted it, probably because she didn't want to give it more visibility. Would be my guess. But like that's where we're at here. So I'm not going to pretend like everyone is well intentioned.
If she doesn't know the channel exists, her Lionel Hutz Lex Luthor friend knows it exists.
I thought it was going because I thought I saw that tweet and I was going to find tweets for Friday. I was like, I swear she said she's never heard of this show. She's fucking heard of the show. Like, believe us. She's heard of the show.
Never heard of the show. I threatened to sue a year ago. Never heard of it.
Not a direct threat, but certainly asked for a contact to our legal team, our lawyer. That was around the crypto time.
You should leave that as a pinned message in your discourse with her.
I don't care. I wish her luck. I don't give a shit. Don't talk to me like I'm an idiot that's trying to manufacture drama for the sake of getting ratings on an internet show. That's not what's happening here.
All right. Time to move on with the show. Before we do, a word from our friends over at BetStamp because of the great deal going on currently with BetStamp Pro. If you've been on the fence about trying BetStamp Pro, this is the cheapest and easiest way you're going to get it all year. They're running a postseason special right now. 1 week of BetStamp Pro for 50% off the normal weekly price. That gives you full access to every single screen, odds feed, and market for the entire week. the props, main markets, alt lines, plus all major prediction markets, including full order book history, so you can actually see how these markets are trading. There's the same screen syndicates and betting groups use to identify scalable plays that stay ahead of the market. Again, that's available for a limited time. The easiest way to get involved. This is the lowest commitment way to get involved. You can scan the QR code screen on the screen right now, or you can go to the link in the description at any time. Take it from me, I use BetStamp Pro all throughout the football season for great success. I would highly recommend getting yourself involved now. Now, next topic on the show today, we're going to the comments from the previous week's show. First one comes from Chum43, says, I am normally a huge both sides have a point guy, but y'all are right. The Broncos' interception is a reflection of society, and you all passed the test. It's so obvious that anyone who argues it was a catch is stupid or a liar. It's the equivalent of arguing a tipped ball was a catch because the receiver who tipped it had a knee down. You have to catch the ball for it to be a catch just because you are on the ground. We kind of talked about it already. Yeah. It just feels like you're a liar sometimes. How we feel, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, you actually have to catch the football for it to be a catch, period. So what drives me crazy, and I mentioned it off the top, I actually think the NFL catch rules are clearer now than they have been previously. They weren't always. I get why people are scarred from decades of nonsense. I'm a huge Cowboys fan. Obviously, the Dez Bryant catch. At some point, you have to update your priors. What I think happens is people see clips on Twitter with captions like, how is this not a catch? And they stop thinking critically. If you don't know the rules, that's fine, but then go learn them instead of digging in further. I do that all the time in areas I don't have expertise in, right? I don't pretend like I know exactly what's going on if I don't actually know about it. So the idea that every close play is some grand conspiracy or proof that the league is broken, I think is just lazy analysis. It really bothers me.
Yeah, agreed. Second comment at the rich_87 says the issue with analytic conversation is that people, often those who are the take the points crowd, look and focus on the outcome. They also think that the pro analytic people believe that what the analytics say to do will definitely happen, which is just false. As someone who developed and implemented a data strategy for an organization, the key to analytics or data-driven decision-making is not to get things right every time, but provide rationale to the decision you made. Let's start with Kirk on this one. There was a contentious decision by Sean Payton to go for it on fourth down in the red zone when the Broncos were up 7-0. Field goal would have possibly made it 10-0. And after the game, because they were unsuccessful on it, that is what the topic is regarding the Broncos, especially considering the weather that was coming for the second half. Maybe in relation to that, do you have any thoughts?
For sure. So one, the fact that people are arguing that, I was cheering for the Broncos. I would have been very mad if they kicked that field goal. To me, was an incredibly obvious go. But I think somewhat similar to what I was actually thinking about this morning, similar to what the comment said. When a team goes for it and misses, fans who watch associate that miss with losing 3 points. But when they get it and score a touchdown, fans don't associate the touchdown with the going for it because they feel less connected because they happened a little bit earlier. Like, you don't get it, okay, the drive is over. And then those are so interconnected. You go for it on fourth down, you don't get it. Now the drive is over. Everyone is blaming that decision. But the credit never gets given when they actually get the fourth down decision. And also, when they miss the field goal on fourth down, no one ever thinks about it. They just consider it as an 100% make. Even though in that game, kickers were like 1 for 5 kicking field goals. So it's just, I think it honestly a massive part of betting, but really analyzing any situation is how good are you at removing human bias? And it is hard. It's hard I feel it too when they don't get it. It's like, oh, it could be 10-all, but you just need to be able to override that in your brain and recognize, no, the math is clear. There are points where it's not a clear decision. But people are debating these incredibly, incredibly obvious go-for-it decisions. So, I saw people bitching that the Rams didn't kick a field goal to make it 31-30.
They never got the ball back in the game. They got the ball back with 20 seconds left. What does that field goal matter? They would still have to go down and kick
if
another
they kicked that field goal, think of the momentum it would have generated for their defense, knowing they were only 1 point away, Rob. The game would have been so different.
Listen, for me, at the end of the day, I think this is a really good comment. I don't think analytics is about being right every single time. It's analytics. It's about making the best decision with the information you have at the time. And different teams will value different things. Not all offenses are created equal. Not all defenses are created equal. Weather can change. It's just about making the best decision with the information you have. I think the easiest real world example is insurance, right? Most years, I'm going to pay for house insurance. I'm going to get nothing back. That doesn't mean buying insurance was stupid. It means the bad outcome didn't occur. Betting is the same thing, right? And decision, good process can still lead to bad results in small samples. An opposite way around. I just did a video on this on the channel, right? About thinking probabilistically. Mm-hmm. What drives me nuts is when people judge decisions entirely by the outcome, because that's not when you should judge the decision at the end of the day. So
it's okay to disagree.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I disagree with both of you as it pertains to this one, and you've both have turned me over the years as it pertains to going for it. I'm very much in favor of going for it. You talk about changing process. You talked about adapting to information. Every single one of these is its own fucking entity. And I know you guys like to bet, so like, all your bets just go together in a spreadsheet, and it's just like one giant thing, and it's your year, right? Mm-hmm. Right, so like it's just a pile of bets, not like one bet. To me, these are all individual organisms. These decisions, independent of the previous decisions. Okay, we have a coach here that had an onside kick to start a second half of a Super Bowl against fucking Peyton Manning. Yep. I will not question him. He knows what the moment requires. He fucked up yesterday. They had 12 yards on 4 drives. You just keep kicking the can down the road. You look at all those Broncos box scores this year. The margins are everywhere. I'm just telling you, in that game, in that situation, you take them. I was on my knee. Jared Stidham, it was 3rd and 6, Rob, and the worst thing that ever happened on that third down. He ran for 5 yards and almost got it. And when that happens with the chart, I just don't even come close sometimes. I'd rather just an incompletion in the dirt. And that was still the first quarter. The weather was not the factor that it was later in the game. I'm convinced Lutz hits flirting with an extra point. You also have a backup quarterback, and there's no guarantee they're scoring the touchdown in the red zone. We know once we're in the red zone, everything gets more tighter, more compressed. There was still a lot of work to do for that touchdown, in my opinion. I absolutely was on my knees wanting those 3 points. And obviously, if it went their way, I'd have been thrilled, and they probably still end up kicking a field goal, but they kick a field goal by taking 2 more minutes off the clock. That's all they were gaining from going for it there. Is also very likely, was just 2 more minutes off that clock and an eventual field goal attempt anyway. I truly, not hindsight, on my knees, the game at hand required the field goal. The game they were in said field goal, and they didn't take it.
I'm just going to clear it up. I'm pretty indifferent on that decision. I think if they brought out the field goal unit, I would have been fine with it in real time. Going for it, I was also fine with it. I think looking back on it, to me, it seems like Sean Payton thought he had a better quarterback than he did potentially in that game. Seems like he went into that game super confident in Jared Stidham.
Agreed.
And then Stidham throwing that ball downfield early on in the game maybe would have been like a
great third down execution on the 3rd and goal. You're right. He probably in that moment overrated how he would move the ball the rest of the day. Now playing it back, I think he nailed it, Rob.
And if we also if I also knew, and I don't know how detailed these teams know about what weather's coming, I would assume they know bad weather's coming in game. But if I think they knew that it was going to get to that point, each point becomes more valuable as well.
Fezzik released a live bet moments before the miss go. Just saying.
Before, on Denver?
on that drive, like once they'd sort of gotten into field goal range to get up 2 scores, I saw Fezzik live Broncos come in.
At what
I
price?
also
Sorry.
it was minus 160, I believe.
Oh, Kirk knew about it.
Oof, it's a tough one.
The only other thing I have to say on this is I feel like what always gets focused on is the decision, yes or no, to go. But no one ever criticizes like the play call. If I remember the play correctly, it was a total no-hoper.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
was really upset with the play call.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on play calling by any means, but I often think that deserves a lot more blame than like to me, the best example is the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl, the Malcolm Butler interception. That play call to me, it should have been a throw, but to throw in a contested middle of the field and not give Russell Wilson the opportunity to move out of the pocket and run a play action made no sense. So I find that the play call never gets enough focus, and just the go decision gets way too much.
So something else Kirk said, I agree with you that when they go for it and eventually get the touchdown, they don't credit that. But that's usually because, like, when you go for it at the 27 or the 30 or the 20 and you get the yard to get the first, they're still, like, scoring touchdowns is so hard, and there's still, like, such a high level of execution that still is required to score the touchdown that when the touchdown is scored, all the energy, like, in hindsight, you're like, oh, yeah, that huge fourth down set it up. But, like, it's just about executing that, like, 12-yard touchdown pass 3 plays later that you're, like, thrilled about.
Yeah, I think my general point is that the human brain doesn't work. You see them not get it and you think, oh, they lost 3 points. But when they get it, it doesn't go in your memory bank of, obviously it's not like they got a touchdown if they go and get it, but they probably add 2 expected extra points. No one's brain works that way, that, oh, they got that added, X amount of extra points, versus it's such a direct thing when they don't get it.
Mm-hmm. It's also by the way, just like, and we can end this. It's not a loss of 3 by not kicking the field goal. The field position matters for one, and also the probability of kicking the field goal. Now we're getting into deep. Either way, I thought in real time that was a very debatable decision, and I could look back on it now, and I believe Peyton thought he had a better offense going into that game yesterday. Had they brought out the field goal unit, I seriously in real time would have had zero problem with it. But I also saw them bring out the offense, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this too. I was kind of watching with friends. I thought it was pretty.
And in fairness to him, like in that moment, he's not playing to win 13-10. Like he's,
Also, like there's an argument that if they know that the bad weather is coming later, another touchdown early on at that point creates a pretty large gap as well. Yeah, so, anyways, analytics is not exact science, is all I'm getting down to. It's about making good estimates in real time, or trying to. It's no different than weighing expected value of other life decisions, where you talk about it with your partner or your kids or whatever, and you just weigh all the information that's available to you at that time.
For sure. Last comment, or a few comments here. Ricky Puck says, Luke Wilson being on TSN is one of the greatest things to ever happen to Jason. The resemblance is uncanny, and Luke Wilson is such a brain-dead dullard, he makes even Jason look like a genius by comparison. Also, Jason doesn't go at people about their deceased family members on social media when they disagree with him, as far as I know, so that's a plus too. This is me reading off text from a comment, by the way, not necessarily my own opinion. The only Ty Crane says, this was a fun episode. Jason makes the episodes fun. And Ace Yelter says, I gave an audible shout of joy when Jace was introduced. What the hell is happening? Rob, what is happening? Jason's gaining some traction on this channel.
I never thought I would see the day, honestly. I think when it's us four, there's no real punching bag on the episode. But when Jason is there, it kind of is. So I could see from the outside looking in how I might enjoy that. He spilled a coffee on himself within 5 minutes of the episode last week.
That was my fault.
Yeah, it was, but it happened to him, Geoff. Like it not a single time when Kirk's been in studio have you hit the microphone and spilled the coffee on Kirk? But it happened that Jason was there that day and it happened to him.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Getting back into the topics in the show in just a second. If you're enjoying the show so far, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you want one of your comments featured on next week's episode, comment something down below. We read all the comments anyways, and we'd like to feature some, and maybe yours could be featured as well. But this topic comes from Derek Stevens of Circa Sports and a couple other casinos in Las Vegas. He says, "Oh, Canada, true north, strong and free, always welcome in Las Vegas," and basically put out a video explaining that your Canadian dollars are on par with US dollars at his casino. So he'll say, like, for table games, he'll give, if you put in 500 Canadian dollars, you will get 500 US dollars, and the exchange rate currently is, I think, 1.37. So
yeah.
Really good position to be in if you're a Canadian there. He's trying to get more Canadians into his casinos. Geoff Zakotny of Covers says this is a pretty interesting plan to get more Canadians back to Vegas. The Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority has reportedly estimated that there was a 24% decline in Canadian visitation last year. Really good promo. To my understanding, it also lasts through Bet Bash, so that's fantastic news for anyone that is attending from Canada. Let's start with you, Geoff, on this one. You've been very negative in your portrayal of Vegas in the recent days. Do you think this is something that could actually work?
Well, like I just have noted, not anymore, but a while my algo was filled with like Vegas is dying stuff, and I don't think that's like really related to Canada. And I would say there's a lot of like politically charged stuff that is serious, but I believe is like sort of being made the scapegoat for why Canadians aren't traveling. It's simple. It's the economy and it's the dollar. Okay, I just paid off my US visa from being in Florida last month. Like, it is such a kick in the nuts. I'm amazed more Americans don't take advantage of like 40% off vacations coming our way. But it's really about like the dollar and the economy more so than like political, I would think. You give someone a good deal, they're gonna go. So shout out, credit to Derek. I even told my wife about it, and she seemed like excited. I don't think she knows like it's off strip, but yeah, I don't know. What a great deal. Shout out to Derek. I really appreciate that.
I love this idea. I don't really have any other way to put it. Geoff, you said that you told your wife about it. My wife told me about it. So from a pure marketing standpoint, this was an A+.
Everywhere on the news here in Canada. I saw him do a bunch of hits all over, like CTV, CBC, CP24. The guy did the car wash of Canada media.
100%. National news, regional, radio. So everyone was talking about it. That's not an exaggeration. You could not buy that kind of exposure efficiently. They did it with a very simple, creative promotion that actually makes Canadians feel good. Now, there's obviously some bias here. I really like Circa as a brand. They've always treated bettors fairly. They take real bets. It lines up pretty closely with how we think about doing things here at the Hammer. But even putting that aside, it's just smart. Like, it's different. It gives people a real reason to consider a Vegas trip at a time when Vegas is clearly trying to reestablish some appeal, right? And I'll say this about Derek Stevens specifically. You don't see a lot of owners like Derek Stevens. If you go to Circa, you see him on the casino floor. You see him posted up at that long, I think it's called the Mega Bar. I can't remember what that long bar is in the Circa lobby. You can walk up, you can talk to him. Like, that stuff matters, right? I think culture comes from the top. Customer service is like, it's not just a slogan there. I find that Circa actually practices it well. So I liked it. And it hit. As a Canadian, us four are all situated in Canada. I can tell you it definitely dominated the news cycle over here.
Yeah. I've never met Derek Stevens, but just kind of to echo what you guys are saying, by all signs I've seen from him, he just seems like he's the absolute man, like a really sharp, smart leader who seems to be willing to take good risks. Like, Circa is one of the only sports books that's willing to take a bet. And clearly a lot of people aren't willing, a lot of leaders aren't willing to take that shot. He's been willing to take that shot. They started Circa Survivor, which has just turned into a complete monster. Now this, like Geoff said, the two problems, I know he said it's more the economy, but clearly the two issues for Canadians coming are like political and the dollar/economy. And this just nails both so on the head and makes Canadians feel good. Okay, you're wanted here, and then also offers them an awesome deal. Like you guys said, it got massive play. He's just clearly the man, honestly.
And his messaging was like so on point.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just talking about being a kid from the border town, talking about how his parents like could hear, you know, anytime the Leafs or Blue Jays were playing high leverage games, you could hear him, you know, from his bedroom window. You know, I don't know. I love America. You're right. There's some problems right now, both of them. I'm not dismissing the other. I'm just saying, if you gave if you gave people a good deal to go like back to Buffalo to shop and not 40% dollars, I think they would go despite the political tensions. That's sort of the point I'm making.
Yeah.
There's just, yeah.
I agree.
And I think he, just like you said, the messaging was so good. He did it in such a way that, you know, he could have done it in a way that American fans could have been pissed off in a way. And he just towed the line perfectly. It's just, yeah, it's a really good promotion. It's got to be a bit expensive for when Canadians actually come. Like, I can't imagine them making much money, but like they'll bring in enough people who are spending enough over that $500 limit that'll be worth it. And it just is what, like, it's even if it's net neutral, the amount of people who now know about Circa Casino who didn't is easily worth it.
And word of mouth is so valuable. You have a good experience there. You come home, you tell all your buddies, I went to this place downtown Vegas that they didn't even know about. Like it travels. I could see Kanish doing these for Proline in about 15 years from all the trips that he's made right across the border.
Kanish is going to like pretend he's Canadian. He's going to call Benson and be like, I live in Windsor now. Do I get the deal? But to confirm, Rob, so it's like a room at Canadian Par. It's like drinks at the bar at Canadian Par. And I can buy $500 like in casino chips at Canadian Dollar Par.
Correct.
What a killer deal.
Yeah.
Can I put down money in Canadian, like on a blackjack table?
No.
You just
I'd have to
buy
pay.
$500.
You go to the cashier, you'll show your
Canadian,
ID, Canadian ID. Yeah.
What a deal. What a deal.
Them. And what a deal. And apparently even said like you use your credit card to like buy the drinks and it'll be charged in Canadian.
Correct. Yep.
I'm going.
Yeah.
It got me.
I mean, I'm already at Circa multiple times a year. So I listen, I make a living betting. I do well. I'll still take a deal.
He'd still ask for a free ride.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Next up on the show, there was a boxing match that occurred between multiple people of gambling Twitter were involved. It kind of like came out of nowhere for me. I didn't see anything on it until after the fight happened. But at Jungle Mandan, who I believe he fought Elf, popular for the Twitter Spaces, and he said the fight was definitely one of the crazier things I've done. Elf was tougher than I expected and misunderstood something for the apparent loss. Good news is I feel almost normal in spite of getting slammed. Would fight more so long as it doesn't cause permanent damage. So my understanding is this ended in a no contest. It was difficult to find information. I believe it ended in no contest because of this punch here from Elf. He absolutely hammered him. I will say in Elf's defense, like Elf from the video I saw was comfortably winning the fight, knocked him down. This guy got back up and the ref said to box, like to keep going. He wasn't paying attention and Elf absolutely walloped him, which I tried to capture the best in this screenshot here, but absolutely hammered him. I believe that's why the fight was called a no contest. And then after the fight, I don't even know what this is, but it was Elf, who I've circled here. Was he trying to get into a bar or a club or something and was yelling that I'm a celebrity too, and I think he wanted to get in for free? I don't really understand what was going on there, but craziness on the other side of gambling Twitter, Rob.
So I think the latter was, so after the no contest, he got escorted out of the venue by security at that point. And I don't think he thought he did anything wrong, which in my opinion, I don't think he did either. Listen, I didn't even realize this was happening until it was already happening, which probably tells you how insulated I've become from that corner of gambling Twitter. Dan Cates Jungle Man is a big time poker player. Him fighting Elf in some kind of exhibition boxing match in Beverly Hills. Like, I don't know what's going on there. I've had my beef with Elf in the past. I don't really want to promote him. I don't really care to relitigate any of that. This whole genre of stuff, just to me, it feels very forced. For other people, they might really enjoy it. I kind of thought it was interesting the first time around when it happened organically. At this point, I don't really know what the end goal is other than attention. What makes this bizarre to me is Jungle Man being involved. I mean, Dan Cates, this is a guy he is worth, if I had to guess, probably north of $100 million.
Ooh.
And he's a very successful poker player, one of the most successful ever. I don't know why he needs this, why he's doing it. Maybe he just he doesn't need the money, he doesn't need the exposure. I don't know that he needs the chaos. Everyone's entitled to live their life however they want. I'm not judging, but from the outside looking in, it felt very odd to me. As for the fight itself, I did see it after the fact. It gets ruled a no contest because of exactly what you said, Jacob. If you watch it, Elf got screwed. I mean, I don't know if Jungle Man was concussed or he was disoriented or he just never been in a boxing ring, so he wasn't responding properly. But if you're being real, Elf wins that fight, fair and square. I'm also fine saying I don't really care at all. And the fact that he wants to get this like ruling reversed, I couldn't give a shit or whatever. But I think we do need to add that I'm a fucking celebrity too, bitch, to the soundboard, Jacob. We haven't been using the soundboard. The last real ad was the GRP. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And this one would be a good one.
Next time in office, we'll have it
for
going.
sure.
Anybody else? Anything else to add here?
You want to go, Geoff?
No, I kind of ignored it. I saw some of the stuff that went viral. It doesn't even do it for me anymore. And I love like freak shows. So that sort of tells you kind of all you need to know. If like a freak show can't win me over, must be struggling.
All right. Well, speaking of, shady fights with shady endings that can cause headaches to sports books, we had another one occur in the UFC. According to Dave Mason of Bet Online, he said, due to some irregular betting patterns, we will be keeping the limits lower than usual on tonight's Michael Johnson versus Alex Hernandez bout. Additionally, there will be no props on this fight. Important, this is a standard measure, not a judgment on the fight's integrity, possible injury, etc. However, to protect both the bettors and the house, we will err on the side of caution. If you choose to bet this fight, all bets have action. Thanks. And it turned out there was something potentially shady going on behind the scenes. Spinning Back Fist says Hernandez vs. Johnson is off per the UFC. There was no specific reason for the cancellation. This fight did have irregular betting patterns up until today. Weird stuff. Ruben Carter provided more details by saying that Alex Hernandez was injured going into the fight and someone in his camp leaked this info to a bettor on Instagram, which caused a suspicious betting activity, and therefore the UFC decided to subsequently pull the fight from the UFC 324 card. So bit of a PR disaster, I'd say, for the UFC for something like this to happen and having to go out and cancel the fight. But how does something like this really materialize? Kirk, do you have any insight?
Yeah, like I feel like we talked about this before, that the UFC, this is by far the most likely sport for this to happen.
Yeah.
But this honestly seems like they did quite a good job of like catching it before and kind of containing it in terms of the all sports are rigged crowd. So kind of hats off. I think the biggest question out there right now is like how much is this stuff increasing versus how much is it getting caught more? And I think this is like a good note for it's getting caught more crowd. So I think that overall is good. But yeah, UFC, this is truly impossible to like actually have a good backstop for, because so many people are involved in a fight's camp, and there are obviously going to be so many injuries when people are sparring and fighting in a combat sport like this. So it's just really, it's a sport that maybe places are going to want to be a bit more careful on taking big limits for, but it's tough.
Yeah. I'm going to echo a lot of what Kirk said. I listen, this is the best possible outcome. Sportsbook flags some abnormal betting. Integrity Services start saying, hey, something's going on here. And the UFC says, nope, like we're not doing this again. We're not running this. That is an example of the system working, not failing. The problem is, and to Kirk's point, we're going to probably have this similar story come up like a half dozen times over the next couple of years because MMA is uniquely vulnerable to this kind of thing, right? Even if nobody's doing anything illegal, it's a one-on-one sport. Injuries are incredibly common. Information asymmetry is going to be huge. If a fighter tweaks his knee in camp or something, or he has a bad weight cut, or he wakes up sick or whatever, that info might circulate privately hours before it's ever public or anyone hears a word. It might circulate it amongst the camp as well. That doesn't mean corruption, but there's definitely insider information that's going around. And there's also like an uncomfortable reality here where Kirk brought this up last time. A lot of fighters on the lower ends of these cards are making shockingly little money relative to the betting markets around them. So when you've got global betting markets moving 6-7 figures on a fight, and the athlete might be clearing, $5,000, there's always going to be some incentive issues, right? And that doesn't mean fighters are throwing fights. It just means that the whole ecosystem is fragile, right? So the positive development is this stuff is being caught before fights happen now. Years ago, this would have sailed through. We'd all be arguing after the fact. The monitoring's better. The data's better. The books are quicker to protect themselves. Long term, though, the real solution isn't just flagging bets. Fighters got to get paid more. There's got to be tighter information controls. It's a situation that's unfortunately going to arise in MMA for a long time.
Yeah, and just to add, the fighter maybe making 10K, 20K on a fight. The guy's eighth corner man who works out with him in the gym maybe making nothing or just makes money on like sparring sessions and has absolutely no reason to not act on that information. So, it kind of like you said, like it is just really, it is a very hard thing to police in this sport particularly.
Ricky Puck says it in the chat, but Dana White basically said, I'm not dealing with this, so we canceled the fight. That's probably the way to go about these in the future. If there's any risk of integrity of the fight, just cancel it, figure out what's going on. It definitely seems like there was some sort of known injury that happened here within the camp that started to leak, and a lot of money got bet out on it. But this happens in one-on-one sports. Growing up, me and Geoff would have heard this in tennis all the time. They had to change the rules for how they grade tennis bets because people would play 1 point and then they would draw from the match with like back pain or whatever. And eventually people figured that out. But it's really tough. With a football game, you're dealing with almost 60 players on each team that are going to affect the outcome. With the MMA fight, it's just 1v1. Tough.
For sure. One more topic on the show today before we go to it. Let's give a word to the Discord we have at the Hammer Betting Network. If you're not in the Discord yet, you are missing out. We have over 1,700 members, and it is absolutely cooking. It's a place to chat during the games. Our creators are sharing banger bets, and so is our Hammer audience. Join us at discord.gg/hammer and see what you've been missing. You can go to the link in the description to get the link and join our Discord today. But like I said, it is the final topic. It was Sean Perry against Jeff Benson of Circa. Sean Perry posted this video. It says, I have the sportsbook mad, real mad. And it was a video of him loading up a bunch of money into a suitcase and packing it up to flex how much money he won. Jeff Benson replied to it, says, yeah, Sean, you do you. To make us spend 30 minutes to unbag and count your money so you can then film a 30-second Insta reel, only for you to then hand us back the money to deposit it into your account, and we have to recount, restrap, and rebag it again, all while you have a long lines of people around you trying to cash is childish behavior. Sean Perry fires back. Not even arguing it. It says, it's my money. I can do what the fuck I want with my money. And trust me, there's going to be a whole lot more coming my way soon. So you might have to hire some more tellers to continue to count my money. Jeff says, we can very easily refuse your business, Sean. And if and when you become so difficult to deal with, we aren't and we will not be a pawn for your content. I'd tread lightly if I were you. We had somebody who took offense to what Jeff Benson was saying. A lot of people were like thinking Jeff Benson dunked on him. I purposely left in the ratio here on the Jeff Benson reply.
Did that say 529K views on the reply? Holy shit. Wow.
Jason Props, JP, who some say that he's not the most sincere person when it comes to business. Some say, says it's okay, Jeff Benson. You're upset he's putting your salary on the table every day. I would be upset too if I was you. This dude is clearly a losing bettor and brings more action than 99.9% of your clients, and you're threatening to ban him because your tiny ego can't handle it. Benson replies that if this is how you're interpreting the situation, my ego has nothing to do with it. Sean likes to be difficult. I just called him on it. So he says, who cares what he makes difficult? He's a losing bettor that brings more action than 99.9%. Who cares, brother? In life, you have to learn how to adjust to people's actions if they benefit you. What's your side on this, Rob? Should Benson just be happy Sean Perry's given all this business to Circa? Or does he have a right to be upset?
This one made me laugh out loud when I read it because it's a perfect example of content brain versus real life colliding in public. Sean Perry does the whole routine all the time. The guy's like master promoter now. Pile of money over the counter, filming it. The sportsbook is mad. He's like some kind of, I think he's like presenting himself as some kind of hero. I don't know what he's going for there. Geoff comes in, absolutely fucking surgical response, not emotional, not like even defensive, just like literally just explaining what's actually happening on the other side of the counter, right? Like you're not sticking it to the book. You're making an employee unbag it, count it, strap it. Like it's absurd. It's toddler behavior. And I thought like Jeff Benson, I never knew Jeff Benson like previously. We've probably developed a friendship over the last couple years. I like his style. I think he's great to customers. We've talked about Circa a lot on this show. I mean, they're not paying us or whatever, but he's fair. He's not going to let himself or his staff be used as props. He balances running a serious operation with being an actual human being, which I think is very rare in the space. And it's refreshing to see guys like this not toe the line and just say it out loud. Like, here is what's happening. And he is cooking in the algorithm right now, and I don't think he's even trying to. I think naturally people have gravitated towards his style of delivery, which is just like, here's how it is. I'm not BSing you in any way. I loved it. I think Sean Perry is an absolute clown, so that comes from that perspective as well. But for him to just for Benson just to type out what's happening, and for it to get that many views and that many likes and that many replies, amazing. Very, very well orchestrated response there, in my opinion.
My favorite part of this interaction is just that Sean Perry says in response, it's my money, I can do what I want with it. So he's not even denying that this whole thing happened. He's just saying I can do it, which makes it much more embarrassing.
It's a total burial, man. He didn't even raise his voice. He just explained the situation, let everyone else connect the dots, and he moved on. That's how adults handle things. And it turned out to be one of the best burials that I've seen in a very long time.
So I could add to this by, saying something else, making fun of Sean Perry and giving Benson credit, and Circa and Benson deserve all the credit. But I'm going to use these last couple minutes to alert you guys to something I've been told in private correspondence I could tell you who said it, but maybe I'll make you guess. Someone who we know is like bragging to me in DM that they ordered Uber Eats yesterday and they didn't tip, and that they never tip a delivery driver. And I cannot believe this person shared this with me, because I can never look at this person the same way.
You need to shame.
God, I have a guess, but I don't want to say it because it sounds mean if I'm right.
Well, like, it's a small,
or if I'm wrong, sorry.
The orbit of people that like
would. Has he been on this show before?
Yeah.
Last week as my replacement.
That's where I was going to go.
He also says that he happily reclines his chairs on planes all the way.
in order for one human being to share this with another, they have to have no self-awareness. And that's Jason to a T.
And no shame.
Zero shame. No, I mean, this is bordering. I'm going to have a private conversation with him and just make sure his head's in the right space. Cause this is too much. But you know what? A lot of people see the Jason on air here, and Jason, when he does his Hammer Daily, he like sometimes dials it back a little bit. He wants to be a little bit. We see the real us four see Jason.
No, I'm surprised by this.
No,
this is like even
absolutely
you know
not
him better
surprising.
than me, Rob. So this could be more on brand for you. Even I'm like
Man.
shook. I'm shook at hearing this.
I'm pretty shook by this.
And then bragging about, like, saying it is like a point of like pride to another human being.
I never tip the delivery driver.
Yesterday, he had someone deliver him food in that shit show and didn't forget like never tipping, which is in and of itself crazy. Yesterday, he couldn't even be like, this deserves me tipping.
Geoff, there's two levels to this, okay? There's not tipping someone in a snowstorm, which is classless.
Heinous.
But then there's not tipping and then telling people about it, which is classless. Like, you have zero class, and on top of that, you're enough of a scumbag to be proud of this and like not even care that it takes a special kind of human being to go down that path. You know, you do some things in the privacy of your own home that you don't want to share to the world that maybe are a little bit out there. You know what? Everyone's got their own secrets. You know, everyone's got some skeletons in the closet. But when you bring those to a public light, when no one even asked you, then we really got to do some mental evaluation here. I think he's still riding high off this Darnold to the Super Bowl stuff, to be honest. I think he thinks he's untouchable now.
I'm glad you brought that to the public.
Yeah, we had to know. I'm glad this got in right before we wrapped up the show.
I do have to, one more thing, Jacob. It's not on the rundown, but since I know that our pal Steve Fezzik is watching, just going to address something really, really quickly from this past weekend when I gave out Colby Parkinson overs on the pizza buffet yesterday, right? I was unaware that Steve also gave out overs. Separate market, by the way. Steve gave out receptions. I gave out receiving yards. It's totally fine. But I know you're watching everything. You're watching everything we do here, Steve. You're responding to everything in real time. It's like you're up to date on everything that's going on at the Hammer Betting Network. I don't watch anything you do. I don't care about your opinion. So I would never give out one of your picks because I don't watch your stuff. You're not a prop originator. If I want to talk to other people about props, I got guys in my inner circle I can talk about. You know, I could just go to the source that you're taking them from at some point or another. But I do want to get out of ahead of it because I know Super Bowl's coming up. I know you're going to reference that old trend about the first quarters going under, second half higher scoring than first quarter. I want to publicly document that I was the first to say it here on Circle Back. So just in case it does come out later on, which I don't even like that play. It's very, very old, outdated. But it was said here by the pizza man first. And I want the people to know that.
I beg you touts to not turn Super Bowl props into like MLB free agency sourcing. Who had it first?
Yeah.
You know,
that'll be a dark day if people need a who had it first. They're Super Bowl props.
Geoff, I originate my own props.
Dude, honestly, you've probably bet on Parkinson. You've been on Parkinson for like 80% of the last half of the season. So for him to come on and be like, you're copying the picks, that'd be like me picking Tommy Fleetwood to win a golf tournament and then someone saying I copied their pick. Like, yep. I lose money on the guy every week. I didn't need to copy you.
99% of the stuff I've ever given out publicly has been my own stuff. I collaborate with Hitman every week because we talk props and we both bet. If it's something that Hitman gave to me and I didn't necessarily agree with it, I would always go to air and say, Hitman likes this or whatever. And I always get his permission as well. But I'm not watching other people's content and then giving out the props. I'm just running my own numbers and going. And I'll tell you, I'm flattered that Steve watches our stuff every single week. But Steve, the only time I see your stuff is when people send it to me on Telegram or they DM it to me and they're like, can you believe what Fezzik said this week? And then I watch it and I dunk on it because it's most of the time it's incredibly dumb. I don't watch your stuff. I would never know what you're on. I don't subscribe to your pick service or anything like that anymore. I don't see what you have. You know, sometimes people forward stuff to me. It would never influence my decision in any way because I originate my own stuff and I don't steal from other people. And on top of that, even if I did, which I don't sell anything. I don't take other people's props and sell them behind a paywall and pretend like that's okay. Now we're living in crazy land. So I'm just going to get that out there. But I'm glad we both cashed on Parkinson yesterday in different bets, different markets. But your opinion means nothing to me when it comes to NFL props. And I will never take your props. So we can just clear the air right there.
All right. That's going to do it for us today on Circle Back here on the Circles Off channel. If you did enjoy, take a second to hit the like button, take a few extra seconds to rate and review us 5 stars if you're in a podcast platform. Comment something down below for next week. But, of course, make sure you're following us or you're subscribed to the Circles Off YouTube channel. 2026 is off to a great start. Let's keep it going through the rest of the year. We will, as always, see you again next time.